So we're going to be talking today about 5 success strategies that are so easy to do that most people don't do them. So sit back and be ready to be fired up. So the very first strategy is recognize that we all have problems. So I'm going to ask you a question. Raise your hand, or if you're in your car, remember, if you're listening to this or you're watching this, understand that we all, you're going to learn more quickly. You're going to absolutely know, take in more knowledge, remember, and be able to more likely to implement when you actually pretend as if you're in front of me and you're doing this together. So when I ask you a question, answer it, all right? So raise your hand if you've ever had your heart broken. Or say, yep, I have, right? Or have you ever completely failed on something that you were doing? Have you ever completely blown it with the client? Have you ever had maybe been divorced or had marital problems? Have you ever absolutely blown it with your kid and did something really bad to your kids and you thought, man, I am the worst parent ever. How did I ever do that, right? Have you ever just felt like you don't want to wake up in the morning, or you're not succeeding, you're not closing the deals you want, you're not landing the clients you want, you're not making the kind of money you want? If you've had any of those kinds of things happen to you, I just want to say to you that we all have problems. Every single person in life has problems. So you have to first understand, the very first success strategy to understand is that we all have problems, and to recognize that and not to let our problems become our excuses. Because I'll tell you something, and you don't need to believe me. So first of all, anytime I talk about these strategies, it's all because I love researching, right? I've read books from like Dr. Maxwell Maltz, Cybergenetics. I've taken many trainings, read hundreds of books, traveled the world and paid mentors and coaches and teachers and trainers hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars to teach me these strategies that are so simple that nobody ever does them. So recognizing that everyone has problems and that you're always going to have them is essential to your success. So here's the deal. It's not the fact that we have problems, it's the fact of how do we deal with those problems that makes or breaks us, right? Because we all have problems, and I can guarantee you, I want you right now to picture, who is your number one competitor? Who's that top producing person? Who's that business, that professional that just always seems to do better than you do in business? They always seem to make their numbers. They're always ahead of you. Well, guess what? I want to, like, news flash, really listen to me and understand this. They have problems too. They're going through the exact same things that you have. Yes, they've lost loved ones. They've been through divorce. They've had illness. They've had sickness. They've had tragedy. They have failed. They have struggled. They have the exact same problems that you do. But the difference between successful people and people who are not successful is they do not let their problems they're not a victim of their circumstance and their problems. They take ownership. They learn ways to navigate, to go under, over, through, or around. They work through those problems, and they do not use those problems as an excuse to not be successful. And here's the thing. Right now, you're going through something most likely. Everyone is. You're stressing about work. You're worrying about sending your kids to college. You're worrying about how you're going to make ends meet. You're worrying about X, Y, and Z. Maybe your marketing isn't working. Whatever it might be. Your competitors have the exact same stuff going on in their life, but they choose to deal with them differently. So number one is recognizing that you've got problems, and so does everyone else, and understanding that it's the way that you deal with those problems that makes all the difference in the world. So that's success strategy number one. And also, let me just say one more thing. Remember that you are going to always continue to have problems. Problems are not going to go away. So don't let your problems become, the creation of why you're not doing well. Okay, so success strategy number 2 is, what are you saying to yourself? What are you saying to yourself? What words? What, are you telling yourself in your brain? Are you saying things like, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I can't do this, I'm not able to, I'm overwhelmed, it's too hard, I'm technically challenged? Is that what you're saying to yourself? Are you always saying, I can't, and it's not going to work for me? There's a book called Psycho-Cybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Maltz, and basically he was a plastic surgeon, and so he did thousands and thousands of plastic surgeries across the world, where he would change people's appearances, change their nose, change their weight, change their whole entire face. And he found out that even after he did these amazing surgeries, these transformations on people, guess what happened? They still did not change how they saw themselves, right? Until they changed their mental story that they were saying to themselves. They changed their mental talk. So even though he changed their appearance, their self-worth, their self-value, how they saw themselves didn't change until they started changing how they were speaking to themselves, what they were saying to themselves. So success strategy number 2 is be really mindful of what it is that you're saying to yourself. What is your self-talk? What is your self-talk? What are you saying to yourself every single day on a daily basis? Be very, very mindful about that. And then success strategy number 3 is we have to understand that things take time. Okay? And understand that little small actions over time equate to massive success in our business. So understanding that little small actions over time, they equate to massive action. Let me explain what I mean by this, all right? So let me explain what I mean by this. There's a book called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. And he talks about how the choices that we make, little small choices every single day, can either to help us succeed in life, or they can help us fail in life. And let me explain to you what I mean by that, right? The choices we make huge matters in life. So for example, if you eat one cheeseburger, it's not going to kill you, right? But if you eat a cheeseburger every single day, after about 2 years, you're probably going to have a heart attack, you're going to gain about 50 pounds, and you're probably going to die. Very, very different. If you choose to eat healthy, it doesn't make a difference in that day, but when you eat healthy over time, it makes a massive difference in your health, in your energy, and your overall wellness. But just doing it one day doesn't make a difference. Think about this. If you read 10 pages of a book a day, it's not going to make much of a difference, right? But if you read 10 pages a day after a year, that's going to equate to you reading anywhere from 12 to 24 books. So that makes a massive difference. So Jeff Olson in The Slight Edge talks about how there's this pendulum, right? And so I want you to kind of think of 2 lines. The line on top, it has a plus, right? The line on bottom is a negative, and they both seem really straight for a while, but then all of a sudden, the one on the top that goes up, it goes severely north, and the one on the bottom, which is negative, goes severely south, right? Because this momentum over time from these small choices that we make in our lives, they add up to massive amounts as time goes by. So making the choice to wake up a half an hour early each day doesn't make a difference, but when you do it over 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, imagine what that half an hour a day, of waking up earlier or waking up later. It's the difference between success and failure. It's the difference between people beating you in business because they make small choices every single day that equate to massive amounts of action and time, right? Because why? Success breeds success. Momentum builds momentum. Think about the snowball, right? When you have a snowball and it starts at the beginning of a mountain, like you've got to push that snowball. It doesn't really do well. You're pushing. But then as time goes by, the snowball gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And before long, this huge snowball becomes this huge, massive snowball, and it makes this massive impact, and it can literally take down houses because it gets to be so big. Because small amounts of the right choices, both negative and positive, equate to massively different outcomes over time. So successful people understand how important the decisions that they're making on a daily basis mean, and how time can be used to their advantage and to their disadvantage. Now, success tip number 4. Super simple, again, but so simple that we forget to actually do them. Success tip number 4 is choose to be happy. Yes, happiness is a choice. So, did you know that it's amazing what happiness does. There's a scientist, I'm just going to read this. It says, the scientists were able to predict mortality rates from arteriosclerotic heart disease, AHD, with greater accuracy than models that looked at demographic information and common risk factors like smoking and obesity. So basically, there was this study done, okay? And the study showed that from Twitter, they could basically identify in certain states, and we'll show you the graph of this, or you can go to, you can click the link below and we'll show you this graph. But this graph showed that based upon the words that people used, you could just decide and understand whether or not these people were going to have a higher risk factor of having this heart disease, right? Based upon the words that they were using. And why? What is that? So people that were using negative words and they were demeaning and they were they weren't kind and they were hurtful and they were negative and they were pessimistic. Those types of words, when they used them a lot on Twitter, those states actually had higher rates of this heart disease, more so than whether or not they were smoking and making bad food choices. The words they used had more of an impact than what they were eating and whether they were smoking or not. Just the words. So the power of our words make a difference. Why? Because you get what you think. And when you're saying negativity and you're putting negativity out there and you're using negative words, that's a very high indication of what your thoughts are and what your happiness level is, right? So, choosing to be happy, choosing to use positive words, to have a positive outlook on life is going to change not only your positive state, the way you show up to the world, but it's going to drastically improve your business. Choosing to be happy. Now, people ask me all the time, Krista, how have you been so successful? How did you, have a brand new coaching business and you were able to have, over $7.2 million within a 2-year time frame? How were you able to do that? How were you able to become, be in the top 1% of real estate agents nationwide for 18 years in a row? It's because of these strategies that I'm talking to you about. So it isn't because it's these small strategies that make the biggest impacts in our life. I can talk to you about funnels and all these things that you can do. In fact, my students, they have all the strategies they need, but if they can't get the fundamentals down, these 5 basic principles down in their life and their everyday practice, it doesn't matter what I give them, it's never going to make a difference, all right? So strategy number 5 is do random acts of kindness. Now here's an amazing thing about doing random acts of kindness. So study shows that when you're kind, guess what increases? The love hormone increases. Your energy increases. Happiness increases. Your lifespan increases. Your pleasure increases. And your serotonin increases as you do random acts of kindness. When you are kind to people and you do good things for people, those things go up, right? And guess what goes down? The more that we actually do kind things for people, pain goes down. Stress goes down. Anxiety goes down, depression goes down, and blood pressure goes down. So just by doing random acts of kindness, all these great things like serotonin and the love hormone go up, depression and anger and sadness goes down just by doing random acts of kindness. So I want you to start incorporating into your life every single day doing something good to people, taking care of people, not because we're trying to get something back, not because they can do something for us, but because we just want to be a good human being and do kind things for people. And let me explain to you how powerful this can be. So I run this nonprofit organization. It's called Teens Lifting Lives. And we have students, we've read books. What I do is I basically take students into this program. And I pay them $750 out of my own personal hard-earned money. It's no money that people donate. It's money that I have chosen to take from the money that I make, which isn't a ton, right? And the profits. And we have these students go through a program with me for 8 weeks, and we read books. So we've read The School of Greatness by Lewis Howes. We've read Millionaire Success Habits by Dean Graziosi. We've read I'm a Badass by Jen Sincero. We've read The 5-Second Rule, Mel Robbins. We've read Think and Grow Rich from Napoleon Hill. We've read these types of books, where the next book we're going to read is from Jeff Olson, The Slight Edge for Teenagers, right? So I pay them money, and they have to commit to reading the book with me. They have to commit to being drug and alcohol free during the 8 weeks. They have to commit to doing one random act of kindness every single day. And they have to commit to showing up once a week on a Zoom call to discuss these traits, these success habits. And here's what we found is that they had the hardest time finding out, like, what do I do that's nice, Krista? Like, it takes them about 2 weeks to figure out how to look for things to be kind to people. And here's what happens at the end of the 8 weeks. Their family starts to notice that they're being kinder. So their family starts to do more random acts of kindness. Their friends start noticing that they're doing random acts of kindness. So their friends start doing more random acts of kindness. And it starts to become like this huge phenomenon, right? This movement of these kids doing kind things and making an impact on those around them so that they want to start doing kind things. There was, I think the movie was called Pay It Forward. It was a few years back, and it was a young boy it was actually a true story that started doing this, and he created this huge movement. But the crazy thing is that it's so difficult for these students to figure out how to do something nice for people. And what they found is that when they start doing that, they're happier, they're more confident, they have less depression, they have less anxiety, and so they want to continue to do it. So just by doing a random act of kindness, one random act of kindness every single day for no other reason than to just do it, your life, your business, your happiness, your serotonin is going to go up. Depression, anxiety, pain is going to go down. So those are the 5 success habits. And here's the deal. They're so easy that we don't do them, right? We forget to be kind to people. We forget to be conscious of what we're thinking about, right? We forget to choose to be happy. We forget that little small things over time equate to massive action. We forget these things, and they're so easy to do that we don't do them. And here's the deal. These are the things that are going to help you go from here in your business to go here. Right? When you do them consistently over time and you put energy and effort into them, that's what's going to be a game changer, not only in your business, but in your life. But they're so easy that nobody does them. I can teach you, I can give you business plans. I can talk to you about the 8 cycles of a business and why most businesses fail and how to keep you from failing. But if I can't get you to do the basics, I can't help you. Right? I can give you the blueprint of exactly how to change your business, to get more clients, to close more deals, to become the authority figure in your space, to show up, to stop chasing leads and start attracting leads. Like, we have the system and the strategies and the process and the blueprint of exactly how to do that. But guess what? If you don't do those 5 strategies that we just talked about, it doesn't matter what I give you or what I tell you, they will not work. So those types of things are so important in your business, in your life, for your success, for your marriage, for your happiness. I can go on and on and on. But guess what, everyone? They're so easy we forget to do them. So your challenge is to remember what those 5 things are, write them down, and start doing them. Right? So let's review really quickly what they are. Number 1, recognize we all have problems. It's how we deal with those problems that actually is going to determine whether or not we succeed or we fail, right? Number 2, watch what you're saying to yourself. What are you saying to yourself? Are you being positive with yourself, or are you being negative to yourself? Are you saying things like, I can't, it's too hard, I'm overwhelmed? Well, you're going to keep getting that. So watch what you're saying to yourself and be very, very mindful of it. Number 3, remember, things take time, and little, small, consistent, small activities over time can equate to massive success or massive failure. Number 4, make sure that you choose to be happy. Remember what happens when we choose to be happy. Lots of things, change in our life. So choose to be happy. Happiness is a choice. Even when you have massively bad things that are happening in your life, choose to be happy and to do your best to deal with those. And lastly, number 5 is do random acts of kindness every single day. Remember what goes up, remember what goes down, and that's it. That's your success secret to being successful. That's what's helped me go from, juvenile hall kid, foster kid, group home kid that was in special education because she couldn't read until 3rd grade, to top 1% in the nation, massive business coach now within a 2-year time frame, hitting over $7 million of gross revenue from 0 to that because of these strategies. Now combine those with business strategies, you have a rock solid foundation. So do me a favor, be sure to subscribe to this channel and turn on your post notifications so you are made aware of when we have more great content. And as always, listeners and watchers, Make it a great day. And when you do what you love, what? People love what you do. Hey there, I have a brand new podcast called Fired Up with Krista Mashore, where I bring my high energy right to your ears. This podcast is available on all your favorite podcast platforms. So do me a favor, go subscribe and leave a review. All this information is free and I cannot wait to teach you everything I know. Thanks so much for watching my video. You can learn more about how to be a successful real estate professional by watching other videos that I have. And be sure to subscribe to my channel. And as always, make it a great home selling and buying day.